Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy, MrLordBritish, aka the Space Fighter. Pum pum. Today, I'd like to bring you a deck list for DDDs. This is like a rough working in the bits, so please excuse if you don't like anything. Well, first off, I have 3 Mexi. A lot of people say Mexi is bad, but I still feel like if you go second, got a chance to draw into your combos. The one blow up bulb, the extra deck cards will speak for themselves. It's also a good way to mill and maybe get something juicy into your graveyard. The one Baphomet, this guy changes levels. You just can't, summon other monsters that are not DDD after you use his effect. The main one, Kepler, always searching. 3 of them is a must. He is your guideline. A lot of people want to play 3. I like 2, but I also like 3 as well. For this deck, for this particular build, I'm using 2. Necro Slime, you're able to banish out of the graveyard. It's also a great, you banish and you fuse from the graveyard. That's it. It's also good discard fodder. Swirl Slime, he's like the main star of the deck because this guy can fuse from the hand, and then while he's in the graveyard, you can banish him and special summon another DDD from your hand. Doesn't care about the level. Like, that's awesome. That's too good. The Rebel King, Leonidas. This guy. This beautiful bastard. Shout outs to my dude on Destiny. His effect in the pendulum scale, you just don't take any effect damage. While you're on the field, during your standby phase, a lot of the DD cards, they do damage to you, so you reveal him. His effect does start a chain, so they can chain to it. And you special summon him, you would gain back the damage that you took, and then you don't take any damage while he's face up on the field. You don't take any effect damage. But the thing about him that's really good is that he's a level 7. He's a fiend. This whole archetype is fiends. Him being a level 7 benefits the deck greatly. We're able to go into ranks, synchro for 8s, 9s, stuff like that. The real king of the deck, the Rebel King. No, this is not Leonidas. This is Ragnarok. Play 3 of him. While he's in the pendulum zone, you can when you special summon a DDD monster, you can special summon a DD monster from the grave, and then you would take 1,000 and your opponent would take half damage. But I guess his effect is really just used to set up for the big XYZ plays. And if you bring back one of the extra deck monsters, Arc, you would gain 1,000. I don't care that my opponent's going to take half damage if I can put a lot of big beefy monsters on board. Now onto the traps. I'm playing the one Solemn Strike. I mean, if I had another one, I'd probably play it. It speaks for itself. It's a staple. The Vanity's Emptiness are also a great staple. This card right here, Ultimate Providence. I pulled it at the sneak preview, and I really thought it was a great card. Being able to negate any spell, monster, trap in the game just by discarding that type. I mean, that's a boon. That's a boon in a lot of good, bad situations where, your opponent may summon a Crobat and you just happen to have, one of the pink guys in hand, and you can just, discard and negate the effect. It won't negate the summon, but it'll negate the effect, and that's what you want to do. Deck Devastation. This card, a lot of people say not to play it, but I think it's awesome. It can stop some Pepe plays. Hand traps, Ghost Ogre, Maxi, Effect Veiler, also used for like when they target your monsters for some dodgy shit, you could just tribute it, get them to graveyard. The Eradicator virus, same benefits as, the Deck Devastation virus, but I really do like it because a lot of spells are being played right now, and especially if you can switch the tempo and identify the deck that you're playing, like if you're playing Satellinites, that's going to be a more trap heavy deck, and you just make a big monster and you go, hey, traps, and give yourself a benefit. I know you're going to hate this, but I think it's a lovely card right now. Crush Card Virus. I want to say this because it has the potential to clear big monsters on the field, such as Inkster. I will say that it's kind of scary early game because they could destroy the damage jugglers in their deck and put them in the graveyard. But I think a real good Pepe player wouldn't do that. Even though they would be shortening their deck, they would still they need a damage juggler in hand. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll want to keep that. They could send the what's his name? The juggler that comes back from the grave. I mean, these are all plays that could go wrong, but against a lot of other decks like the Mirror Match, Pepe's bigger Pendulum monsters, the Magicians and stuff like that. It's a good card. These are the Dark Contract cards. The Dark Contract with the Witch. I play 2. I was thinking about playing 3, but I think 3 is a bit too much. This is a continuous Raigeki break. Also, during your opponent's turn, all your Fiend type monsters gain 1,000. It's a good card. Activated during the damage step to get the attack boost. This is it's a really good deck. The fact that it can destroy monsters, spells, and pendulums. It's a good card. And also 2 Time Space. Time Space is an underrated card right now. I feel like it's got a lot of strong possibilities, especially in a deck that manipulates the life points, such as DDDs. This card is God. They pendulum summon for 4, and you go, let me holler at you. Let me put those back in the deck. I'll take 4K to stop you from advancing your plays. All right. Now we go into the spells. A lot of these spells, a lot of people are not going to agree with, but hey, this is my deck. I play the 1-for-1. 1-for-1 is great. Special summon Kepler, the pink one, the blow up bulb. We want to be able to summon monsters from the deck, get some stuff to the graveyard. The 1 Raigeki, of course, good card. Burial, because a lot of the times we're ending up banishing our own cards, for like Contract with the Swamp King, to get a lot of fusions off and stuff like that. Transmodify. We mainly use these on the Jones, because we want to tribute the Joan into a Rebel King. Not the Rebel King, the King Abyss. Then use his effect to special summon from grave and kind of just add more meat to the field, I only play 1. I was thinking about playing 2, but sometimes I just don't want to, put myself in a predicament where I could tribute my monster and they'll go, Solemn Strike. That's not cool. Allure of Darkness, like to draw. This guy. This right here. The Mass Change 2. Of course, that's the extra deck tidbit. I'm playing a Dark Law. Dark Law is real. It's tangible. It hits the field. You got to be like, oh, wait a minute. Now, do I really want to play Pendulum Call? Do I really want to search and possibly have one of my scales banished? Do I want to play that Wavering Eyes and have my scales banished and removed from play? If I add to hand, I could lose a card in my hand that would mess up my combo. It's a very good way to both get stuff to the graveyard and go into something that could devastate your opponent. Now here's where people might have some conflictions. Well, not after these first 2 cards. I play 2 Swamps. I think this is a good card. You're able to fuse from the hand, field, or graveyard. We don't really want to leave Kepler out there in attack mode. I'd rather fuse him and make him into something, make it useful, and that's where it combos with the burial, because we're gonna put back the stuff in the graveyard and we're gonna get to reuse some of those fusions. Two twin twisters. This speaks for itself. Getting stuff to the graveyard once again and popping scales and whatever's in my way. And for my final part, you're like, where's the gates? Where's the gates? Boom. I'm playing 2 gates. 2 gates. 2 gates. A friend of mine told me that this was dumb. Why would I play 2 gates? I feel like the gate is amazing. You're able to search it so well, and the deck moves so well by itself. I really don't think 3 is necessary. I opted to use the 3rd one for a Solemn Strike. I wanted to have some defense in my deck, wanted to have some backbone. Even though this is a searcher and I can use the effect every turn, That's the thing. This is gonna stay. Not a lot of people want to get rid of this. Even though Twin Twist is being played, not a lot of people get rid of this. They go for the face downs, the unknowns. And this usually stays up on the field because they try to be fancy and let you burn yourself out for game. And I feel like it's a waste. I feel like 2 is enough. You got the 2 contracts, and most of the times I don't even use the second one. If I use this in the first 3 turns, like, I'm literally guaranteed game, because I'm going to get to my searches. I'm going to dump. I'm going to be able to fuse and make really big monsters. Extra deck. So, boom. The Wave King Caesar. This guy is Soul Charge. He is God. More times still, you want to make the Joan Arc and him first turn. Of course, the drawback is you take 1,000 during your standby phase, but if you've brought back a Joan or whatever DDD monster that died that turn, you're gaining life points. You're going to be gaining 4,000 life points. His second effect is that when he's killed, you get to search your deck for a dark contract, spell, or trap. The card is simply amazing. So after I've used his effect, which is multi-trigger, he dies. I search my deck. He comes back. And then even if you kill him again, I don't care because I'm going to get a search. This guy, since he would be taking damage, if I take damage, I can overlay him over this guy for free. I don't know why, but it just doesn't make sense to me because his attack is 23 and his is 24, so why would I go for a weaker monster? But it doesn't matter. His effect, when he dies, you can send a contract or a DDD monster from the deck to the grave. That's cool. His primary effect is that if you took damage from a dark contract or a DDD monster, you detach, you lower one of your opponent's monsters by 1,000, and you do a damage to them. Wait, am I reading that right? Yeah, you do 1,000 to him, so it's a good card. It's decent. Because we're playing a lot of 7s, boom. Big Eyes God. The real gem, this guy right here, the Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, Joey. This card right here. I certainly do appreciate the fact that I can hit you for 56, overlay my 2 Joan of Arcs, make this guy, and you're going to take 500 damage for any activation of an effect or a card. That's setting the tone. If I can hit you for big damage and force you to try and play around this and get your life points low enough, I've done my job. This card is worth it. It's indestructible, and it warrants, it warrants its $20 worth, or it's like 15 or 18 or whatever. But this card is worth it. I'm testing this Underworld. He negates spell trap and monster effects. By detaching or whatever. I can also detach to attack directly while he has material. And if when he does battle damage, he can destroy a face-up monster on my opponent's side of the field. That's a really good effect. The only drawback is that he has to negate. So he has to negate the first thing on their turn. I mean, that's cool. He's got a low attack, 2,000, but this could potentially be game. I'm playing Felgrand, because Felgrand is Felgrand. You holla at that man. You know, I do play a lot of level 8s, so, you know, why not have one of the most game-disrupting cards? This is a breakthrough skill. It's a big monster. It's invincible. If it wants to be, it's good. The duo Don King Kaliyuga. This guy's won me so many games. You can XYZ him with 2 level 8s, and when he hits the field, he essentially becomes Cold Wave, and they can't holla at that man. They can't holla at him. He also has a heavy storm effect during either player's turn, and you can detach a material to get back a contract from the grave. I mean, because it's so easy to make him, that kind of swayed my decision to play the 2 gates, because I can get back a gate if I really need it. And other than that, if I have to search for a gate, I should have already won. The synchros, a lot of people saying you shouldn't play synchros, but I love synchros, so I'm gonna, boom. Omega, not beta or alpha. This is Omega. This is the end. Omega is a really good card. You can do serious combos like putting back the green swirl slimes that you've already used that are banished, and putting them back in the graveyard to set up, remove from plays with the swamp. So this guy promotes game synergy, and the fact that you can take a card away from your opponent's hand is really good. Scarlight, man, I was playing at the Wasteland Gaming, and I went 3-0. I lost to Pepe in the finals. This card did like 6,000 damage on its own. My opponent had a full field of special summon monsters. I special summoned about 3 other monsters other than this, and I blew up the whole field. He took 500 per, and then I attacked for 3,000. Like, it was just too real. The fact that he blows up the monsters and does damage is a great thing. He can be damage juggler though. He can be. But if you get the effect off, you're going to holler at somebody. And that's what you want to do. Plus, he's 3,000. He's 3,000. And for the last extra deck cards, we have the One Dark Law. I told you. It's an amazing card right now. We're playing three of the arcs. She's a staple. She gets shit going. She's 8. She's 28. She's a level 7, 2,800 attack. She's God. With the trap out, she's 3,800. I don't want to holler at her. I want her to holler at you. And for the final cards, boom, I'm playing 2, what's this guy's name? Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. All these guys are made out of kings. This card attacks, and when it declares an attack and your opponent has 2 or more monsters, you can bounce back a DD monster or a DD card on your side of the field or a dark contract card back to your hand and absorb a monster that you're not attacking on your opponent's side of the field, and its full attack becomes his. It gets added to him. He's too real. I don't want to fight him. He's already 3,200. So if I attack a plush fire and I absorb an Inkster, he becomes, what is that? 5850 or 6850, something like that. He's a big MFer, and he gets the job done. I'm not showing you the side deck. The main deck is going to be changed. I, want some feedback, and tell me what you think, any critiques, and I'll be back. It's MrLordBritish, the Space Fighter. Boom.